Hello students of class 9th and welcome back to my channel Let's Learn Together. It's been quite some time that we had interacted. So I'm bringing today's video to you in which I'll discuss the interpretation. I'll try to discuss the poem The Wind, which is written by Subramanya Bharti, and I had already provided you some very basic notes on the same poem, but today I'm going to read the poem between the lines and try to interpret the poem from my own perspective. So you are requested to listen to it, and at the same time you're requested to keep taking notes along with as the video is going on. And you are also welcome to come up with your own perspective, to come up with your own point of view, or with your own interpretation of the poem. This is what, when I have read, I felt the poem was like. But you are completely welcome to have your own interpretation, provided, once again, as I always tell you, provided you are able to pinpoint the correct context of the poem and then discuss the whole poem, keeping it within that broader context. So I'll just read the poem first. I'll take 1 minute, read the poem first, and you're supposed to carry your textbooks with you, as I'm carrying the textbook with me. So keep the notebook, the textbook with you, or if you do not have the textbook, at least keep a notebook and a pencil with you so that you can, keep on taking notes as I'm talking to you. And then you can also come up with your own interpretation of the poem, right? So, first of all, the information about Subramanya Bharati has been given at the bottom of the page on which the poem is present, and saying that he was a great Tamil poet and he was famous for his patriotism, the kind of poetry that he used to write in pre-independent era. So these are very basic information that is given about Subramanya Bharati. He would have written this poem in Tamil. Originally, the poem would have been written and published in Tamil, but then from Tamil to English, it has been translated by a person called A.K. Ramanujan, who is a Kannada and English poet, and he's of course very much known for his translations of classical and modern poetry. Right. So what you're reading is actually the translation, is not the real piece. So you are supposed to find out more about both of these people, Subramanyam Bharti and A.K. Ramanujan. You can go on browsing, or you can go on searching for them on the internet. This is something which is a kind of research work for you. Please do it for yourself, because if I provide all the information to you in my videos, then of course it will be you like be, it's like as if you've been pushed into your comfort zone. So please come out of your comfort zone and find out more information about these poets also, and try to write down something about these poets, about what kind of genre do they write the poetry of, or what is it that is generally the topic of their poems, or what is it that are the main themes of their poem. So try to find out some information about both these poets on your own. Okay, let us now begin in the poem. As I told you, the right way of understanding a poem or to enjoy a poem is to first read the poem completely and in its entirety. So once you do that, then you get an overall context of, you try to understand that that it is very important for you to first of all understand the mood of the poet or the speaker. It is very important for you to understand what is the tone that is being used in the poem. So once you do that, then it will be, yes, comparatively easier for you to understand the poem, and it is more important for you to understand the poem in its entirety than trying to understand it line by line and word by word and section by section or stanza by stanza, because that is actually not the right way. We do it because we tend to study these books from the examination point of view, and we know that some lines would might be picked up from the textbook, and then you might be just asked to write a question on it, or to attempt an a problem on it. But actually, when you read it as a literature lover, you should just read the poem from the point of view of understanding the mood and the tone and the beauty of literature of the poem. It's not about that, it's not like that you should try to dissect, because that is called dissection of the poem when you just read it between the lines, and that is dissection to a larger extent, I feel, which is important to a certain extent, but that should not just be the only aim of reading the poem, right? Having said that, let us now begin with the poem. I'm reading it. Please follow in your books if you have them along. Otherwise, just keep noticing my voice, and just keep listening to me. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the window. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw all of them. You tore the pages of the book. You brought rain again. You're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. The wind God winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's paint strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to form the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. Right. So, if you have listened to the poem properly, then you know that there is one geographical agent that has been discussed about here is, and that is the wind. Now, all of you know what wind basically is. Okay. So, when air around you, when it starts flowing with a certain speed, and the speed is something which is not very comfortable for the people, or something, sometimes it causes a negative destruction, or something sometimes it causes a negative impact on the life of the people. So if the air around you starts attaining that kind of speed and starts flowing with a great speed, then of course it becomes a problem. Then that phenomena is actually winding, or that phenomena is actually known as winding, or the air blowing with a certain speed so as to be able to negatively impact, or sometimes even positively impact the life of the people, is known as wind, right? So here you know that the speaker is addressing to wind, and it is and he or she is saying a lot of things to the wind, and he's talking about, there are basically two parts of the poem. In the upper part of the poem, or the first part of the poem, you find that the speaker is trying to put some, he's putting allegations on wind and saying that you have actually been responsible for for all the destruction that has come. So whenever you come, you just leave things broken, or you leave things completely in a very haphazard way. But then you should stop doing it, because you are very good at poking fun at weaklings, which means that you will only affect those who are weak, only affect those who cannot stand strong against you. And then the tone of the poem changes a little, and there's a feeling of, within the speaker you can find a feeling of fighting against this nature of the wind that arrives, and it says that, okay, whatever you do, I'm not trying to change you, now I'm trying to change myself. So he's not just addressing to himself, he's talking about all of the people who are around him, and he's saying that we're going to be more stronger than ever, and we're going to face you, and I'm sure when we will be stronger, then you will not affect us, and then we will be friends, and then your friendship is good. Okay, so then you need to understand how is it that the wind is actually portrayed. Wind is not just portrayed as a, as I told you right in the beginning, as a geographical agent, or a geographical phenomena. It is basically been symbolized for the problems that we have in our lives, the difficulties that we inevitably face in our life. There is not even a single uh, individual born on the face of this planet who has not faced any problems in the life. This you must understand. Right from the beginning of our lives, we start facing problem. Even an infant who is 1, 2, 3, 4 day old, or a very elderly person of 90 plus age, everybody faces problem. There is nobody who doesn't face problems. Now the wind actually symbolizes all those difficulties in our lives, which, as I said, they inevitably, they mandatorily, they appear in your life. So then he's saying that when you come, which means that whenever these problems occur to our lives, what happens is that we feel emotionally shattered. We are left physically also sometimes shattered, right? Let me pick up an example and try to tell you. For example, there is this person who was trying to cross a road, and he just meets with an accident. Now accident uh, happened on its own, in a way that the man, of course, was not trying to deliberately meet with the accident, isn't it? So the when the accident happened, it left the man in a very bad state. The blood was flowing out of the body. The man was very badly injured, probably got multiple fractures, and then he was shifted to the hospital. And then for days and days and weeks together, he had to undergo the medical treatment. So it had led him a lot of physical problems, right? Because he is going through a lot of pains, and then the problems, the troubles of eating too much medicines, and then the trouble of not having been not being able to perform the daily task easily, and also the problem of getting dependent on others. Okay, because for the very basic and menial jobs also he has to depend upon others. So this person is not just left physically shattered, but emotionally also, because now whenever he is going to get right, and whenever he is going to get out there on the roads, he's going to be extra careful about not meeting an accident. It's not just him, he's going to caution each and every person whoever comes in contact with him, the how careful he or she must be while crossing the road. This is a kind of fear that has actually been instilled into this mind, into his mind, for a very long period of time. This happens actually whenever the problem happens to us. The problems leaves us extremely shattered physically, mentally, emotionally, sometimes spiritually also. So he's saying that, but this happens to those who are weak basically. Now weakness is not just the physical weakness, the weakness could be emotional weakness also, the weakness could be intellectual weakness also. So he's saying that if you're going to make yourself stronger, then whatever the problems come, we will be able to face them more fiercely and more successfully. That is the point that the uh, speaker is trying to make here. But at the same time is saying that problems are not always negative things in your life. They're not just negative circumstances. The problems are testing times, and they happen, or they occur because because they want to test you. Like, you have an opportunity in the form of a problem to always check yourself, check your skills and your learnings in the past life. And not just that, you also have a wonderful opportunity to enhance your skills and enhance your personality, right? So if you befriend the problems that you have in your life, then it will be very much supportive for you, because then you're going to look at any negative situation or any problematic condition as an opportunity to learn. So you will be out there to find out such uncomfortable situations. And history knows it, that for a good growth, any individual needs to compulsorily come out of his or her comfort zone. You can never learn without coming out of your comfort zone. It is not possible to know anything great, anything extraordinary, without actually putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? So he's saying that these problems are actually very helpful to us in growing. They help us to grow as an individual and to enhance our personalities at multiple levels. It could be a level of, so for example, if you today start exercising, now for say 15, 16 years of your life, whatever your age is, you have never exercised. Now your body is it will not accept exercising in the first place. It is just going to reject it very badly. Each and every part of your body is going to pain, and your mind is continuously sending you the signal that you should stop exercising, right? Now you have two choice, whether to exercise, can continue to exercise, or whether to stop. So when you continue, then of course slowly and steadily, you know that you are able to overcome that pain, and you're able to form yourself in a much physically stronger person. And if you stop, then you continues to stay weak for your whole life of the life. This is how he's saying that you must befriend the problems that comes, which means befriending the problems means you must be able to see opportunity in each and every condition that comes into your life, and you must reach out to that level where you actually deliberately start putting yourself in very uncomfortable, new and unknown conditions, so that you are able to learn better and you're able to improvise your personality, right? This is what is the analysis which I felt in the poem is talking about actually. Let us now look at the poem and read it once again, line by line, and try to understand what the poem. So I'm just picking up first 7 lines, and let us see. So I'm just reading the first 7 lines first and trying to interpret it for you. uh, Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. Okay, so here you can see the speaker directly addressing to the wind and saying that please, whenever you come, please, because you cause a lot of destruction. You just break the shutters of the windows, that the window panes, the glass window panes, they get broken because of the high speed wind that comes towards the homes. And at the same time, when the windows are broken, then whatever is kept in the room will get into a very haphazard, in a very way. It will get just, it will just be flying away with the wind. For example, the papers would get scattered, the pages of the books will get tear down, and so many things will happen. So he's saying, please do not do this. So right now he's actually making a kind of request, but when you must understand, the request is not very soft request. There is a undertone of anger over here, that why do you do it, that whenever you come you cause destruction, right? So here you find an individual who is right now at a stage where he knows problems will come, but he's not very happy with the problems. Nobody is very happy with the problems, of course, I understand. But then this is a person who has a very complaining attitude. Right now, the speaker has a very complaining attitude. He keep on complaining about why there are so many problems in my life, because whenever there are problems and I have to face them, it always leaves me shattered. It's so difficult for me to face these problems. I don't want to go to through this phase again, right? So this is the complaining attitude. That is what I said. There is a request to the wind to be gentle, but at the same time there is this undertone of anger which is also accompanying the tone of the speaker, saying that you always leave my things out of the place and you keep on breaking so many things. Please do not do it. Okay, let us move on. We're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. I'm just stopping here at this sentence, because this particular sentence says the cynical attitude which the speaker has adopted. He's saying you're very clever at poking fun and weaklings, which means weaklings are those who are weak. For example, your homes, if they are weak, if you have gone towards the village side, then you would have found people making their homes with only wooden things, with leaves and branches and stems, and with the dried up wood things. So such homes are very much prone to the destruction at the occurrence of wind, or at the occurrence of any other kind of physical phenomena like cyclone or any other thing. So he's saying that you will do all these destructions to those who are weaklings. So now he is just using a very cynical attitude, and is saying that you are bad only with those who cannot stand against you, and which is very wrong. So which means it is as if the wind treats strong people and weak people differently, and only weaker section of the society always gets targeted. So this is how he has been cynical now. Okay. So he is trying to kind of distinguish people as weaks and another ones as strong ones. But when we're talking about people being weak and strong, well, the problems are not only of the economical background. We're not just talking about their economical background, but this, as I said, I feel the poem is written in a highly symbolic way, where poking fun at weaklings would refer not to the people with a low with a downgraded economic background, but with those people who are not strong enough to face the, as I told you, their attitude or their mentality is such that they have a tendency to run away from the problems and not to face them, and that is why they're weak. And when they're weak, for such people, the wind can cause a lot of destruction. For weaker people, even a slight disturbance in their life, or a very slight problem in the life, can cause a lot of problem in their life. Okay, let us move on. Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling woods, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He's saying now there is this usage of the word crumbling over and over again. What could be the purpose? Please find out. Okay, and what could be the poetic device used? I'm just leaving you there on this question. I'm not giving you answer. First of all, try to understand or try to interpret why is this the word crumbling is being used repetitively. It's been used. Is it because the poet does not have any other word? No, that is of course not the problem. poets and writers, their vocabularies are super rich. So definitely this is not the problem. What could be the problem? What could be the reason of just using this word over and over again? So please try to find out that, and at the same time, just try to see how this is frail, crumbling. Frail means weak, crumbling means breaking down. So frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters. Rafters are these are these are kind of wooden structures. These are wooden logs which are generally kept on the roof of the houses, and they support the roof. Okay, so you would have again seen it only, as I told you, towards the village side. This is generally not the phenomena which can be found in the urban setup, but in the rural setup you can very easily find out how the houses, terrace or the roofs are generally supported with the wooden logs, kind of. There's a long very long wooden logs, and they just kept over the roofs to support the house, or to protect the people from direct sunlight or direct um, rains or whatsoever. So it's saying that crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies. Now from houses to door to rafters to wood, he is now coming to crumbling bodies. So wind is affecting them. What is the wind affecting? First the house, then the door, then the rafters, then the wood, then the body, then the life of the people, and then the heart. So it is a very clear indication of wood is not just destroying the physical thing, it is at the destruction is deep down one's personality. It is destroying one's life also, it is destroying one's heart also. The destruction of the heart will refer to the scar that one gets on emotional level. These are the emotional scars that one gets. Now these are not visible. Okay, if I'm fearful about something, would that fear is visible on my face? No. If there is a cut on my body, the scar can tell you about the problems that I would have faced. But a mental or as emotional scar is never visible, and that is more uh, hurtful. I mean, that is more painful also. Okay, so he's saying that how is it that the wind, that is all the more reason for me to understand wind, or to see wind as problems in life, and not just as the normal geographical phenomena. Okay, that is moving on. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. So wind god, who is the wind now, right now is seen as so powerful, that it is as powerful as God, and so powerful that it is winnowing everything. All winnowing is a technique that you would have once again seen towards the village side, where there are women who would in order to separate the wheat from the chaff. So what will they do? They will just keep the wheat on a utensil. It's not a utensil, it's once again a wooden kind of a thing which is made, a wooden thing in which the wheat is kept along with the chaff, and then they just shake the chaffing, the shake the that wooden structure a bit, and ensure that the wheat along with the chaff start going towards the ground. So since chaff of the wheat is lighter, so it gets easily flowed away with the wind or with the air, whereas the wheat is heavier than the chaff, it just keeps on heaping at the foot of the lady. So this is what winnowing is basically. This is one of the old techniques, because now they have these machines also to do this technique, but earlier times women used to do it. So they would just stand at a little higher space, at a little higher pedestrian, and then they would just start separating the wheat from the chaff by shaking it, keeping it almost over their head, so that the chaff will just move up, since lighter, it move away from with the in the direction the air would be flowing, and the wheat would just come down. This is how they used to separate both the things. So now the wind god, we knows them all. Winnowing is now the lighter things are just getting flown away. So similarly saying that now, since we are weaklings, we are very easily get winnowed away by the wind god. This is what he is trying to say. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to form the body. Make the heart steadfast. Okay, so he won't do what you tell him. saying that if we keep on making requests to him, if we keep on if we keep on asking for help, then he will not listen to us, because he does not listen to those people who are weak, right? So there is absolutely no point in pleading to him. There is absolutely no point in making request. Rather, we should do something to encounter this problem. And what should they do? They should build strong homes, and should join the doors firmly, should practice to form the body, and to should make the heart steadfast, which means more stronger. That's what I said. He's saying that, since wind is going to come anyway, and wind is not listening to us, it will just blow away whatever weak things, like the chaff of the wheat gets blown away during winnowing. Whatever weak comes through the way of the wind, it will easily get blown away. Therefore, we must now make ourselves more stronger. Let us build more strong houses. Let us ensure that our doors are jointed very strongly. Let us ensure that our bodies are strong, and at the same time ensure that our hearts are also strong, which means that the speaker is playing an emphasis on making not just physical things outside, the things, the physical, the body, the door, the terrace, the roof, everything which is physical outside present, which can be seen, not just that strongly, not just that should be built strongly, but even the emotionally one must understand that growing strong is extremely important. Therefore, the heart should also be steadfast. This is what the poet is trying to say, or the speaker is trying to say. Hmm? Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. So if you do this, then the problems of our lives, or the wind, will be very much good to us, or the problems of the life will no more be the negative things. We will actually start looking up, because once you become physically, mentally, and emotionally more stronger, then you will be actually looking out for the uncomfortable things. You would try to get yourself into the put yourself into the challenging conditions in order to make yourself more stronger. So it says that now, if we are going to be stronger, then wind is going to become a great friend of us. And at the same time, um, then the next line, let us look at the next line. The wind blows out weak fires. So those who are weak, wind blows it off. Okay, so although the weak fires will be taken away, they will be just blown off, because they are weak. He makes strong fires roar and flourish, but that fire which is strong in nature, okay, you can imagine a weak fire and a strong fire. Weak fire is a little fire. It could be a fire in the matchstick maybe, or it could be a small piece of paper getting burning at one corner of the room, which is completely harmless, right? But then there could be a strong fire. Imagine a complete house on fire. Now that is a strong fire. That's a strong fire, because it will not be easily put off. It will not be easily be shut down very easily. Even the fire brigade is going to take hours and hours together by putting water or other kind of things to to make the fire go away. So the strong fires, when the wind happens, this is what generally happens during the forest fires in the summer seasons on the mountains. A fire which gets strong enough to get hold of the few trees, if it is getting that strong enough, then whatever the wind is blowing, the fire will more flourish. It will roar even higher, it will rise even higher, and therefore fire in the jungle gets even more worse with the wind. Therefore the strong fires get flourished. They are positively supported by the wind. But if you are a weak fire, then you will be simply blown off, you will be simply put off, right? His friendship is good, we praise him every day, and therefore wind in that way is very good, and his friendship is extremely important for us, and we praise him for every day, right? Let me very quickly sum up what I have just said. The poem, when you read, understand wind not just as a geographical phenomena, but as the symbols to the life in our the symbols of difficulties in our life. In the first half of the poem, you find that the speaker is making a request with a certain undertone of anger, but then soon realizing that that the wind is not going to help him, or this attitude or just making request to the wind is not going to change anything. You find that he finds an alternative to himself, and you find that let me be stronger than the problems of my life. And therefore then you find that his tone suddenly changes, and it becomes a very a tone of self-confidence, a tone of strength, a tone of of an attitude which is giving you an idea of conquering all your problems, right? So this is how the wind is being depicted here. You also find the growth in the character of the speaker. There is a subtle growth in the character of the speaker. Whoever the speaker over here is, you find him at the beginning of the poem, you find him as somebody who is not strong, who is weak, and who gets very easily affected by the negativities of the life. But slowly in the middle and the last part of the poem, you find this a character becoming more mature in his approach, and now exactly know what is it that he needs to do, and he knows that he needs to tackle his problems of the life in a very different way, in a very positive way, and at the end, till the extreme end of the poem, he becomes so strong, he understands that these problems appear in a life with a purpose. And that is why we must actually welcome these problems. We must actually make friends with this problem, because the problems will anyway occur. Let us be more friendly with our problems, so that we have an opportunity to grow. This is what the poem is about. An extremely good poem. Please read it once again. Give it multiple number of readings if you feel that you're not able to understand it. If you have any problem, please leave your questions in the comment section, or you can get in touch with me personally also. I'll answer your questions, and very soon I'll try to develop a worksheet on this, or a questionnaire on this poem, which I'll send out to you very soon, so that you can read the poem and test your understanding of the poem on it also. Thank you so much, children, for listening to me. I hope this video is helpful to you. If you want me to add something, which could make the video more informative, which will make the video more interesting, please do tell me about your recommendations. All your recommendations and suggestions are completely welcome. Thank you so much, and have a very wonderful day ahead.